All right, what's going on, everyone? How you doing? UFC 266 is today, and I'm just going to be breaking over, going down the best bets and some of the predictions. I'm not going to be doing any super in-depth predictions, but I'm going to be saying what I think are the best bets. I've looked over every fight today. There's tons of great fights, tons of great value, I think, and I'm going to pick every single fight, and hopefully we can make some money today. So make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button if you guys are into sports betting, and I'm going to be doing lots of stuff, mostly on MMA, boxing and stuff, but I watch every sport as far as sports betting because, it's one of the best ways to make money. It's one of the only ways you can make money if you're living in Vegas and you like betting. But anyways, neither here nor there. So the first fight of the night is Jonathan Pierce versus Omar Morales. I'm going to be going with Omar Morales. The odds, let's look at him. Minus 150 is pretty good odds. The under 2.5 for plus 130. I like both of those. I'd probably lean towards Omar Morales. He's just crazy. He's got a crazy physique. His striking's better. I think Omar Morales is probably going to win by KO or TKO early in the fight, maybe second round. But I do like the under 2.5 if you're feeling like if the minus 150 is a little bit bothersome for you. Next fight, Martin Sano versus Matthew Selmesberger. Selmesberger just fought Chaos Williams, I believe. That was a really impressive fight for him. And a lot of people picked him to get knocked out by Chaos. Selmesberger is just a fucking stud, straight up. And he's one of the biggest favorites on the night other than Shevchenko. And Sano, I believe, is one of Nick Diaz's friends. He's like, I don't even know if he's won a fight in like 5 years or something. It's crazy how long he's been out. He's very inactive. He's probably only getting this fight because of Nick Diaz, if I had to guess. The under 1.5, that means everybody's going to be leaning on Selmesberger. Usually when you see a 1.5 for a 3-round fight, that means somebody's a big favorite or it's just a crazy striker's war. I'd stay away from this for betting unless you want to there's no justification for picking Sano in my opinion. Selmesberger, there's probably some props. You could probably get him for KO, TKO, but I'd just skip that one. You don't have to bet on every fight, but if you want to do that, maybe prop it or under 1.5. Actually, I wouldn't even do the under 1.5. I'd do over 1.5 if I had to bet on that. Sano's kind of tough, so he could definitely get into the later second round to win that over 1.5. So I'd probably stick with that if you have to bet on that fight. Cody Brundage versus Nick Maximov, the next fight, another one of Nick Diaz's friends. I'm going with Brundage. Not much to say about that. I kind of like Maximov, but once again, you don't really know how much of a factor Nick Diaz is in all this. He's kind of getting his boys together for the card. Maximov definitely has a much better chance than Sano, but I do like Cody Brundage. Not super in-depth on both of these fighters, but I have watched them both before. I'd be definitely going with Brundage in this. Over 2.5, I'd just stick. When you get a fight that's this close on the money line, I'd just go with Brundage at minus 105. Next fight, Medic versus Jalen Turner. A lot of people have been picking Jalen Turner. It's kind of surprising. He's got really good boxing, I know, but Medic is a fucking stud. Like, oh man, it's a really good fight. I think the odds are too close, so Medic at minus 130. It's kind of a striker's delight, and I feel like Medic is a little bit better in the grappling scenarios. Turner's long as hell for that weight class is crazy. The type of physique he has for that weight class. Absolute weight bully, which is fine. That's just what MMA is. The minus 145 for the over is really fading, so they expect these guys to go the distance, if not, at least into the third round. I'm going to be going with Medic. I do like the over 1.5 for minus 145. That's terrible odds for an over. It's usually around minus 100 or so. But Medic or the over, either one. And even Turner's a good bet, but I'm sticking with Medic in that. Very good fight, though. Next fight, Roxanne Modafferi versus Talia Santos. I'm going with Talia Santos all day. Under 2.5. Roxanne's tough. She's probably tough to get out of there. I don't know, though. Everybody's chin, it's good until it's not. You know what I mean? Like, there's always the chance that the cookie that gets cracked. And I'm rolling with Santos all day. I'd kind of stay away from this one as far as betting. Maybe under 2.5. Maybe look at some props for like a submission or KO or something if you can get some crazy odds on that. I bet you could get Roxanne plus like 1,000 or something for submission or KO. But I wouldn't do it though. Just saying. Shamil Abdurmerkuria versus Chris Dawkins. I'm going with Dawkins all day. If you guys haven't watched this guy fight, he's a heavyweight that can move very similar to Aspinall and Gane kinda, but he's kind of small, chubby little dude, but for a heavyweight, like, it doesn't really matter, you know. He's a stud. Like, this guy's skill level is high level. His brother's in the UFC, and so that just shows he's got, you know, good fighting genetics, probably got a good camp, good system. If his brother's also, you know, it's always good to have someone going through the same shit that you're going through as a fighter. So I'm going with Dawkins at minus 210. They don't have any props out on this one yet. I would, for the over, under 1.5 is plus 120. I don't know. I think Abdurrahman, I'm not even going to try and say this guy's fucking name. I know what it is, but I literally can't say it when I read it. I'd probably go with the over 1.5 because Shamil's kind of tough. But Dawkins could definitely finish him in the first round. I don't know. I'd stick with the over, though. I think Shamil is actually going to get a little bit deeper in this fight than people think. Dawkins probably going to win by either third round KO, TKO, or decision. Nasrat Haqparast versus Dan Hooker. This is a very good fight. We need to see how Dan Hooker is recovered. He's been in a war with Poirier, and then he got fucking knocked out by Michael Chandler in his last fight. But that was, you know, it was just kind of a great finish by Chandler. Hooker never really found his footing in that fight, never got going. Haqparast got sent to the shadow realm by Drew Dober, bounced back with a good win. I'm going with Dan Hooker, man. He's the better fighter. You never know if he's fully recovered, but Dan Hooker is the better fighter, better striker. His knees are crazy. He's got all sorts of elbows. This dude's a fucking weight bully to the max, and that's awesome for these guys. You know, it's just the way MMA is. This dude's frame for his weight class is ridiculous. Going Dan Hooker by decision, over 2.5. Not terrible bet. Haqparast, they've both been finished before, so if you want to kind of throw it under 2.5 out there and just hope that someone gets knocked out, that's not a terrible bet to make. But I would be going with Dan Hooker at minus 165. Merab Dvalishvili versus Marlon Moraes. This is, oh man, I can't believe Marlon Moraes is plus 200. He's fallen off so far. Marlon Moraes, the dude who head kicked Jimmy Rivera when Rivera was just a fucking world destroyer. Dvalishvili is a stud. You guys will probably see him wearing that kapaika or papayshka, whatever the fuck they call it. Big old headdress that the Eastern Europeans wear. But there's like multiple different ones. Like Fiziv's got one for his country and Khabib's got one for Dagestan. I don't know what the hell all that shit means. But they're cool looking. I'm going with Marlon Moraes at plus 200 just simply because he's plus 200. I'm not even really picking him. You guys got to understand, if you're sports bettors, that you just got to go with the odds sometimes. I know Dvalishvili can take him down. That's probably what he'll do. But if Marlon can stay off his back, if he can just stay off his back, I think he's the better striker for sure. And if you guys tell me you don't agree with this. If you took out his last few fights, I know he's had some tough goes recently, but when Marlon Moraes was at his peak, I honestly thought he was going to be champion for sure, and he was beating the shit out of Cejudo in the first round, if you guys remember that. And just like, if you look at the end of the first round, Marlon Moraes was probably a top 5 pound for pound fighter in the entire world at that point, and just for whatever reason the wheels fell off. So I think this is his very last chance. I think he's going to go for broke. He could definitely get a first round knockout or something, but you know, if I had to, you know, bet my life on it for minus 100 odds, which it's not, I'd go with Dvalishvili, but Moraes is plus 200 odds, so I gotta go with Marlon Moraes. Cynthia Calvillo versus Jessica Andrade is next. I'm definitely going with Jessica Andrade. I'm hoping she bounces back. She just fought Valentina Shevchenko. That was a very tough fight. But Andrade is a stud. She beat Rose. She's beaten a lot of good people. She's got stupid fucking KO power for that women's weight class. She's probably got the most KO power in that division with her hands. Yeah, I'm going with Jessica Andrade all day. I'd never bet the under on women's MMA. But it's at plus 140, so if you want to take a risk, you know, I wouldn't, but It's not, if you were going to do it on anyone, I'd bet it on Andrade. If anything, I'd just take a prop for Andrade to get the knockout, if you can get some crazy odds. Rosenstrike versus Blades. Oh, man, Rosenstrike's such an underdog in this. It's crazy. Blades is coming off one of the most brutal knockouts of all time versus Derek Lewis. Rosenstrike has had some tough fights recently. Got fucking sent to the Shadow Realm by Francis. And, man, plus 255, Rosenstrike, you guys gotta remember, this guy was like a world champion kickboxer, and people think just because he got knocked out by Francis that his striking is like downgraded or something. No, Francis didn't even throw anything proper in that fight. It's just stupid raw power knocked out Rosenstrike. So I think you could justify taking Rosenstrike plus 255. Curtis Blades is by far probably the best wrestler in the heavyweight division. So if you pick Rosenstrike, be prepared for Blades to fucking ground his ass out for 3 rounds. But once again, you can't take Blades minus 330 because it's just terrible odds. So to win the fight, probably go with Blades. To bet, I would, I don't know, over 1.5 minus 165. Not really feeling that either. If you're going to do this, I'd either take Rosenstrike or skip it. Next fight, Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler. Nick Diaz won the first fight like 17 years ago or something crazy. The last time they fought. I'm going to be going with Robbie Lawler. Nick Diaz requested the fight to be at 185 pounds. Very late notice. That's worrisome to me. It means he probably wasn't cutting weight. And this is a guy that his diet and his exercise has always been the #1 thing in his life. So if he's not able to make 170, you know, how can, maybe he hasn't been putting in the proper work. His physique looks like trash. Robbie Lawler looks like he's ready to go. I don't know what the fuck this is. This a 5-rounder or something that I missed because it says over 3.5? I don't know if they're giving Nick his the Nate Diaz treatment and going another 5-round non-title fight. That's really weird. I haven't even heard that, so I'm not even gonna talk about this over 3.5, under 3.5, because that might be off. That's fucking weird, man. I don't know why. If they're doing a 5-round fight for the Diaz brothers, it makes no sense to me. Like, they're literally changing the rules for these guys. It should never be a 5-round fight for a non-title fight, in my opinion, unless you're going to make it for all of these big fights that are on the pay-per-views. Are you going to make them 5-rounders now? Just crazy to me. So, yeah, I'm going with Lawler by probably by decision. It's definitely possible that he finishes Diaz. I know people think that the Diaz brothers in particular have some undefeatable chin, but that's not the reality. Anybody's chin can go at any time. Diaz has been out for over 5 years. He looks like shit. That being said, he'll probably, you know, come out and do his Diaz thing and win, but, you know, the writing's on the wall. Like, if you had to go with everything, if you took out the fact that Nick Diaz is just one of the coolest motherfuckers in the world, and he's got great boxing, you took out all that, you know, Robbie Lawler should win, but you never know. So I'm just going to skip that one too and just enjoy the fight. Next fight, Valentina Shevchenko by absolute fucking detonation over Lauren Murphy. Lauren the Sacrifice Murphy, the Sacrificial Lamb Murphy. Minus 1,500 for Shevchenko. Under 2.5. I know people think Murphy's kind of tough. I'd go with the under 2.5. I think that's a good bet. Everything said, you get 12.5 minutes for Shevchenko to get a finish, and if she doesn't, I still think it was a good bet. So I'm going with Shevchenko, the under, or you guys can look at some props, maybe throw in like a 2nd or 3rd round KO for like plus 550 or 600, whatever you can get it for. Brian Ortega versus Alexander Volkanovski in the main event. This is a very good fight. Volkanovski's at minus 195. That's kind of surprising that it's dropped that low. Probably opened, the odds were probably a little bit closer if you had to look at the opening. I'm not really sure. Under 4.5. Ooh, both of these guys don't have tons of power in their hands. Neither of them, I don't think either of them have ever been finished before. Both of them fought Max. Ortega got absolutely whooped by Max. Volkanovski beat him twice. I know people think the second fight was either controversial or whatever, but, you know, Volkanovski won the fight. It really comes down to how you scored one particular round in that. So definitely wasn't a robbery. Everyone agrees that Volkanovski won at least 2 rounds, and he beat him the first fight. So, you know, he won over 70% of the 2 fights that he fought versus Max. Ortega got his ass whooped by Max, bounced back amazingly versus Korean Zombie. That was one of the best bets that's ever been in the history of fucking sports betting, is Ortega plus 200 versus Korean Zombie. Like, that was easy, free money, straight up free money. You knew, if you guys knew anything about striking matchups, that you knew fucking Zombie was gonna literally try and walk him down. Ortega's a genius, man. Like, he's this dude. This kid's got really high fighting IQ. That's why I don't think that betting on him is too big of a mistake. Volkanovski's just so good, though. Can you tell me that Ortega is gonna knock him out? Probably not. Maybe I can see him getting T City. They call him Triangle City. It's possible he gets him in a submission. That's the only way I see Volkanovski getting finished, to be honest, is a submission from Ortega. You know, maybe Volkanovski gets rocked or flash rocked and shoots for a single leg or double leg, and fucking Ortega just, you know, shoots for the guillotine and just goes all out for it. And I don't know, he snaps up necks like crazy. If you guys have seen what he did to Cub Swanson and just multiple people, it's crazy his jiu-jitsu, how good it is, or how underrated it is, because of how good his striking looked versus Korean Zombie. So I'm going to be going with, I actually like the under 4.5. I know neither of them get finished. I was just talking about how neither of them are probably going to get knocked out, but that's a long time to fight, and this is a championship fight. They're going to be fucking swinging for the fences, I think. They've been talking a lot of shit. So actually, there's a world where Volkanovski gets knocked out, and it's probably going to be early. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I'd be going with, I'm trying to argue with myself on this, but that's what you have to do with sports betting. I'm trying to think of the best bet on this. Probably go with under 4.5. I've been hearing a lot of people saying they think it's going to go to decision. It's definitely possible, but for the reasons I was just saying, the hate, the submission possibilities for Ortega, the knockout power for Ortega, and I don't even really know about knockout power, just kind of TKO power. Throws a lot of volume together, and Volkanovski got knocked down twice by Holloway, and, you know, Holloway's got pillow hands, so Ortega's got a little bit more power. So, yeah, I'd go with the under 4.5 if you have to pick your very best bet on that. Yeah, so there's some great value tonight on the entire card. Definitely be doing some parlays. Be looking at, let's see, let's do one right now. Let's go with Marias, Brundage, Medic, Daukaus, Hooker. Those 5 would be plus 1,200. So a $100 bet would win you $1,200, or plus, it looks like just went up as I said that. Best bets of the night are probably going to be something like a Daukaus, and, you know, mix in Daukaus and another one for a parlay. Try to get even odds. Lawler minus 165. I like that. Medic minus 130. Really good. Brundage minus 105. Not super confident. Marias minus 150. Definitely confident on that one. But yeah, there's some good bets tonight. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think of the fights and the betting predictions. All right, peace out.